Caribbean. 10:42 a.m. The sea blazes under a blinding Sunday. Across a horizon that seems perfectly calm, a sound tears through the stillness. 3 high-powered engines scream like steel under strain. A 32-foot go-fast boat favored by drug smugglers slashes across the water at nearly 55 knots. No navigation lights, no radio calls. Only the roar of engines and a trail of white spray. From afar, it is nothing more than a faint blur. But its course is a suicidal run, straight toward the USS George Washington, a Nimitz-class nuclear aircraft carrier and the centerpiece of an entire strike group. For smugglers, this is the worst mistake imaginable. At 2 nautical miles, the colossal silhouette of the George Washington rises like a floating city. On the flight deck, dozens of F/A-18 Super Hornets sit silently, ready to launch within minutes. Encircling her are 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and a Ticonderoga-class cruiser, their advanced radars sweeping every inch of the horizon. Every contact within 200 nautical miles is under constant surveillance. But right now, the tiniest blip on the radar commands everyone's attention. For a carrier carrying more than 5,000 sailors, any unidentified approach is a serious security threat. By rules of engagement, the response follows 3 steps: warn, deter, intercept if necessary. The drug boat is about to experience all 3. A carrier strike group is more than a collection of ships. It is a single, unified war machine. Thousands of sailors, dozens of aircraft, and countless weapons all moving under one commander. Destroyers provide anti-submarine and missile defense, using SPY-6 radars that can pick up tiny targets even amid heavy sea clutter. Cruisers manage air defense and direct the layered missile shield overhead. The carrier itself is a floating airbase, deploying fighters, helicopters, and early warning aircraft to extend control far beyond the horizon. Facing such a formation, any small boat approaching without clearance is flirting with death. 10:50 a.m. From the bridge of the George Washington, the first warning rings out. Unidentified vessel. This is Warship 273. You are closing in on restricted naval operations. Alter course immediately. The sea and engines answer with silence. The boat keeps charging forward as if deaf to the call. A second warning, sharper and more urgent, is transmitted. Still no response. On the destroyer USS Mason, the 5-inch gun swivels toward the target not to fire, but to track. The message is unmistakable. We see you, and we are ready. Yet the boat roars even faster, engines screaming a challenge. Distance now falls below 10 nautical miles. At 55 knots, it will reach the carrier formation in less than 12 minutes. An urgent order goes out. Launch intercept aircraft. 2 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters, nicknamed the Navy's Swiss Army knives, lift off in a spray of rotor, whipped mist. Call signs Lancer 71 and Lancer 72 streak into the Caribbean's brilliant blue sky. On their FLIR infrared displays, the boat appears clearly. Narrow hull, triple engines, figures crouched beneath the dark blue tarp, classic signs of a drug run. The pilot issues the command. Unidentified vessel, this is Lancer 71. Stop your engines immediately. Again, no response. Only the shriek of throttled engines. The helicopters switch to visual deterrence. A green laser flashes across the bow, a daylight siren. Loudspeakers blare instructions in both English and Spanish. Below, aboard the destroyer, the Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment, LED, stands ready. These are the only personnel with legal authority to make arrests in international waters, something the Navy itself cannot do. 11:03 a.m. 2 RHIBs, rigid-hulled inflatable boats, splash down and charge through the frothing wake behind the smuggler's boat. Coast Guardsmen in body armor and helmets, carbines slung, ride the waves like a single machine. Above, helicopters keep floodlights locked on target, turning the daytime sea into a blinding stage. Under overwhelming pressure, the drug boat finally slows, then stops. Spanish commands cut through the roar. "Manos arriba! Hands up!" Figures huddled beneath the blue tarp rise one by one, arms raised in surrender. Coast Guard boarding teams leap aboard, swiftly handcuffing suspects and separating them from the cargo. Beneath the tarp lie dozens of vacuum-sealed rectangular bricks, wrapped in tape, the unmistakable signature of refined cocaine. Rapid field tests return positive. The haul is estimated at hundreds of kilograms, worth millions on the black market. Everything is sealed, numbered, photographed, and logged on the spot. Video from the helicopters and warship cameras is copied for court evidence. Each Coast Guardsman gives a statement to preserve an unbroken chain of custody. Why involve the Coast Guard at all? Because under international law, a warship cannot make arrests on the high seas. But with a Coast Guard detachment embarked, military might is fused with legal authority strong enough to intercept, legitimate enough to prosecute. The presence of an entire carrier strike group here is not just to seize a few bales of cocaine. It sends a warning to traffickers and the governments that shelter them. Any provocation will be detected and neutralized within minutes. Go-fast boats once terrorized drug enforcement teams with their speed and agility. Technology has ended that advantage. AN divided by SPY-6 radars on destroyers can now detect tiny targets rising only inches above the waves. Electro-optical and FLIR sensors on helicopters track engine heat and even the movements of individual crew members. Every radio signal, every thermal signature becomes instant legal evidence. As a result, the boats that once slipped away like fish are now prey in a sensor web stretching from the seabed to the stratosphere. By 12:10 p.m., all suspects are aboard the destroyer, contraband sealed, digital evidence transmitted to federal prosecutors on shore. Not a single shot fired. No injuries, only a few cuts from waves and rough handling. But the message is unmistakable. Never approach a U.S. aircraft carrier. One small boat, one wrong heading, and an entire strike group can shift from routine patrol to rapid action. To tourists, the Caribbean is paradise. In reality, it is becoming a volatile geopolitical chessboard. Venezuela's economy is collapsing. Smuggling gangs grow bolder, even firing on patrol aircraft. Just days before this incident, Reuters reported U.S. aircraft destroying several smuggler boats after they opened fire. A single speedboat cannot threaten a nuclear carrier. Yet this encounter proves that every approach is treated as a genuine threat. Warning systems, helicopters, law enforcement teams all can activate within minutes, turning a desperate drug run into a costly lesson. By midday, the George Washington resumes her voyage, flight deck gleaming like a sunlit city afloat. The captured boat, now mere evidence, rests in the destroyer's hold. No gunfire, no explosions. But the confrontation stands as a chilling reminder. In the age of advanced war machines, speed is no longer an advantage. Technology, discipline, and legal authority decide who prevails. Will drug cartels dare to approach a U.S. carrier strike group again? Perhaps this was the final warning shot they will never forget. Time will tell. But from now on, every faint blip on a Caribbean radar will think twice before choosing its course. That midday encounter was more than a clash between anti-drug forces and reckless smugglers. It was a wake-up call for the entire region, where criminal networks grow ever more daring, where a single burst of throttle can trigger an entire web of weapons, sensors, and international law. If one small boat can prompt a carrier strike group to spring into action, others must understand. Every engine start, every nautical mile closer, is one step deeper into a self-destructive spiral. The Caribbean is no longer a playground for lucky escapes. It is a technological battlefield where radars, satellites, and helicopters weave an unbreakable net. Every smuggling attempt, every border run, will be detected and ended within minutes. For readers, this is a powerful reminder. Do not ignore the fight against transnational crime. Share this story, stay alert, and support the forces safeguarding free maritime routes. Each share, each warning, strengthens the silent war against networks of violence and death. Let this incident broadcast a message across the Caribbean and the world. Do not test the power of law and technology. Do not let greed drive you into a showdown with the most advanced war machines on Earth. Because on the open ocean, there is no refuge for the reckless. And no boat, no matter how fast, can outrun the long reach of justice.